Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. We have our new town manager here at Upton as a guest today. Welcome, Joe Laydon. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Joe, you joined us how many weeks ago, months ago?
Towards the end of May, so I'm coming up on my second month here in Upton.
Yeah. You're in Northbridge. You live in Northbridge, right?
Yes.
But where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Sutton, so I've been in the Blackstone Valley my whole life. Really, most of my time was raised and went to school in Sutton, basically just always loved the Blackstone Valley. After sort of bouncing around to grad school in Tennessee and then out of grad school up into Vermont, this is where I wanted to come back and raise my family, live, and
Right.
Where'd
you go to college in Vermont?
I went to after Sutton High School, went to WPI.
Yeah.
So graduated from there, realized that it was a brutal winter. I'm like, I want to go look someplace a little warmer. I went down to Knoxville, Tennessee for my graduate degree. And first job, and that was too warm.
Yeah.
So then I sort of bounced out of down south, landed about 20 miles away from the Canadian border. And that ended up being a little too cold, and just sort of like Goldilocks, realized Central Mass was just right and came back here.
What did you major in college?
Started out biomechanical engineering, then biotech, and realized I didn't like lab work, and graduated with political science, which is a one-way ticket to grad school, essentially.
Yeah.
So I went to the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, for city and regional planning. So my first job out of grad school, working up in Regional Planning Commission up in Vermont, gave me a lot of great experience dealing with local agricultural issues, impacts of tourism. Really enjoyed it, but came back to Massachusetts as a town planner for the town of Wayland.
And so you were at Wayland as a town manager or planner?
Town planner.
What's the difference?
Town planning, basically focusing on the built environment, development review, helping not only homeowners but also developers, business owners, permit their properties, their businesses, help guide the direction of the town or the region. After a number of years as town planner or community development director, I made the switch over to town administration.
Yeah.
I was the assistant town administrator in Littleton, and then was very fortunate to become the town manager here in Upton.
Well, do you have any specific goals or I don't know how else to put it, visions for the town of Upton? Anything you'd like to see done?
So, one of the things is I'm still learning about the town, just because I've grown up in the area, know a lot of the issues Upton as well as other towns are facing. Once you're talking to residents, getting an idea as far as what is important to them, that really helps formulate, say a town manager's vision. There's always things that, you try to identify efficiencies, help out where there's a need, and try to bring resources so that you can help the residents. There's because of COVID, there's people that maybe have been trying to start a business that maybe just hasn't been going that well, or they've lost customers because of COVID. There may be residents that are in more need of social services because they may have lost a job and just couldn't get back in the job environment. Yeah. That's one of the things that's really great about the local level, working on the local level, is being able to help one-on-one with residents in the community. One of the things that really was attractive as far as coming to Upton, more so than the 7.5 mile commute. So reducing it from 42 miles one way to 7.5, that's a positive, was that the town really has done a lot to identify what its future vision is.
They were having it built right up the street.
Yeah, I mean, the community center really bringing together
Yeah.
all ages into one building. There are communities that struggle with how to do that. And that's great to be able to see and to have that investment in the town.
Yeah.
There's a lot of economic development plans that have been prepared trying to support local businesses and expand opportunities for businesses. You know, we're not talking about Westboro type levels, but we're
No.
talking about what would be appropriate for Upton, for residents in Upton, and for people to start their own businesses locally.
Yeah.
Even this past town meeting where, over 600 people showed up for town meeting
I
to
was
preserve
there.
Mechanic Street.
Yeah.
I wasn't yet an employee of the town, but I came to town meeting because I wanted to see how Upton ran its town meeting and to see, many of the people that would attend, and it was great to see that outpouring of concern because it's something that not only Upton but all the surrounding towns are dealing with. Pressures caused from the outward migration of people from Boston, people in town looking for affordable housing locations.
Yeah, good luck, huh?
Right. And also a regulatory and some may even say a moral obligation to provide affordable housing. But sometimes there's ways that aren't in fitting with the town, and that was an example.
Yeah.
And I think my background in community development, I was the community development and director in Grafton for 6 years, where I had to balance those issues. I think that's one of the things when I saw the challenges and opportunities that Upton presents.
Yeah.
A lot of it seemed to really align with my experience and training and things that I've previously done that could be a benefit to the community.
Definitely. We're talking with Joseph Laydon, and he is our new town manager here in Upton, Mass. If you're watching from out of state or out of the country, Upton is a fairly small town, kind of below Worcester. If you'll find Worcester, you got up to just look a little bit down. And you come to us from basically Northbridge.
Yes.
And I lived there, Whitensville, for a lot of years, raising my own son. So, and then I was in Grafton, and so almost the same places. And you
Yep.
have been at the Northbridge Cable, helping out up there too. I remember when Northbridge Cable, when I started out, was in the center of Whitensville, in this little, you know where the bowling alley is?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it was in this little tiny area back there, and that's how it's we started out. But now you were in Littleton, where you were probably working in Littleton during the COVID, the real major part of it, weren't you?
Yes.
Oh.
When I was in Grafton, I was sort of like at that, almost like a crossroads. I could either continue in that position as town planner, basically until I retired, because I've worked for the W towns closer to Boston.
Yep.
I've worked for some of the smaller towns, and I was like, okay, do I do this
Yep.
or do I try something else? And I had a lot of support from my town administrator at the time to try town administration, and I was fortunate to get selected for the assistant town administrator position in Littleton.
Did you enjoy it?
I did. I really did.
Yeah.
But I started January 13th, 2020.
Oh.
I had a month and a half
Yeah.
of...
Then you got slammed in March.
Exactly. Meeting everyone, going to senior dinners at the senior center, and then middle of March, everything is locked down.
Oh, including us.
Right.
Yeah.
And dealing with those issues, dealing with employees, trying to help them identify how to balance, working remote, working with IT to get them set up, and 7 months into my time there, I found myself as interim town administrator.
Yeah.
So being in charge because the town administrator at the time and the board had separated ways. So it's been my 2.5 years in Littleton had been, when they say trial by fire, it was fire, plague,
Yeah.
all of those things.
Oh yeah, you were.
It just needed the locusts, and
Yeah.
and I'm
You
sure
knew.
that probably would have been coming.
And you liked it.
Yes.
You took to it.
Yeah.
When you were in high school, well, then you went to WPI after high school. Did you
Yeah.
have any idea you would be a town manager someday?
No, it's funny thinking back when I was at Sutton High. You do the personality test and identify what is of interest,
Yeah.
and they identified you'd be a perfect librarian, which
Really? Okay.
I guess detail oriented, and I just wanted to sort of be
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
I thought it was ironic because that time I didn't really know or appreciate how interactive librarians are with the public. So
Yeah.
there may have been something there. But no, even in undergrad, I did not. I always liked local government,
Yeah.
but it was not. It was not what I thought I'd be doing, and that's one of the lessons I try to teach my daughters is that it's okay not to have like what you envision work out, because there's always an opportunity that
Oh, yeah.
that will come, and just my oldest is starting as a freshman this fall at UMass,
Oh.
and just saying, just be open to the experiences, because you're gonna grow, you're gonna change, and that's fine. That's okay. It's part of growing up.
That's a great outlook.
So
When I was in high school, the big deal for girls was, you were in college prep in high school. I wish I hadn't take college math, but anyway, college prep. The big thing was most of the kids had to go to college. I mean, you weren't in unless you were going to college. Nowadays, who cares? You could go anywhere, and elementary ed was a popular thing. So I said, okay, that's what I'll do. As soon as I got there and I saw my roommate was an art major, right up my alley, like, ooh. So I changed that. It's so possible, what you're saying, to tell your kids, you go with your muse, go with what you're really feeling drawn to. That's important. We're talking with Joseph Laydon. He is our new town manager here in Upton. Joe, how can they reach you?
So very easily reached. My email is JLAYDON, my last name, at uptonma.gov. You can also visit the town's website. Just go to town manager, and phone number and email are there. We recently put out a Town of Upton Facebook page. So trying to relay more ways to not only let the residents know and people know about what's going on in Upton, but then also to reinforce some of the other Town of Upton pages like the library or Recreation Department, Police and Fire as well, to really try to bring things together and to support each other.
Sounds like you're excellent at communication. So important, right?
Yes.
So what you just said is you're trying to reach the people. I think a lot of our people are on Facebook, and now you could reach you through that. How do you prefer? If they call you, if they email you, what do you prefer?
Really, it's whatever's easiest for people. Because just like each person individually, you're talking about people may have a thought 2:00 in the morning. That would definitely be email.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Yeah.
realistically, it's whatever people are comfortable with.
Yeah.
And there's so many different ways to communicate, and there is no wrong way. Sometimes email ends up being easier.
Yep.
Because then if it is a little quieter or in the morning or in the evening, I'll be more likely to respond.
How about walking in? Or do they need an appointment?
People are able to walk in. I have an open door policy, and that's with staff as well as everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sometimes I just may not be there.
Right. I
may be taking a phone call.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or I may be in the meeting. So usually, what I'll encourage people to do is just call, set up an appointment, or email. If you're stopping into town hall
Mm-hmm.
and you're visiting another department, just want to pop in,
Great.
chances are it might be free. Chances are it might not.
Joe, have they taken you over to the new town community
Yes.
center? Does it seem to you like it's going up real fast? Oh my God, yeah.
It does, and I've been involved with building projects in the past, and it's funny. It seems that things go slow, and then all of a sudden a building's there.
They're like, I noticed they're the pointed tops.
Yep.
And there's a slanted roof. The slant. I thought, oh, we're really going more modern.
And that's where they're right off the town's website. If you link to the through the library, they have a building project web page where then you can see the schematics of the senior the community center.
Yeah, they're going to have a senior center in
And-
there and the library.
Yep.
And I think, will the playground be outside, right?
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty. When do you think it might be ready? Fall? Winter?
The approved schedule says middle of December. However, we are in COVID times still. Supply chain issues could always pop up. Realistically, I'd expect some form of delay. At this time, we are shooting for that middle of December. But in my previous position in Littleton, we actually had the building complete, ready to schedule the opening.
Oh.
Furniture wasn't in. It was delayed.
Yeah.
So we had to push back opening by a month because we're missing furniture.
Yeah.
So at that point, hopefully things will be corrected
Hopefully.
for
Yeah.
middle December.
Yeah.
But who knows what our winter could be like? There could always be things. So
Do you think the building we're in right now, where the library is too, the Ristine building, do you think that's going to be no more, or what do you think they're going to do with this building?
that part, I don't know. Anytime town has a building, I'd expect some form of discussion as far as what are potential uses. There are very often other needs within the town that, because we're so focused on creating
The
that
new
building
place.
over
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
we haven't had a chance to have that dialogue yet. What are some potential uses? Could it be for senior housing? Could it be for more of a place for the youth? Turn it into more of a youth center. There's so many possibilities.
Right. We're thinking about where would the historical society go. Plus, we're in Upton Cable Television up here. We're
Right.
thinking, where's everybody going?
Yeah, and one of the challenges is that there are some access issues, ADA compliance issues that we have to resolve.
Yep.
There's a lot of things to discuss. There's, unfortunately, with all those things, there's budgets that need to be considered as well. So I'd expect that once we get into the fall that the Board of Selectmen will have some discussions and invite others for commenting on what this building could become or what it could be used for.
Was it November? We'll probably have our next the big town meeting. I think it's usually November and May.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully that'll be on the docket. I don't know, because you got to consider the library guys are going to be moving over to the new place.
And they're going to need time. So realistically, because it can sometimes take a month to move things over. And if you run into delays, hopefully by the time we're running into Maytown meeting, we'll have an idea.
May
as
or
far as
November?
what
May.
May. Because the warrant for special town meeting, which would be in November, that warrant would be opening up pretty quick, and then it would be closing beginning of September.
Yeah.
So we just may not be far enough along in sort of our processes or thinking to really have something for that. But it's a town-owned building. It's being lived in. The second floor is being lived in. And one of the benefits is that we have some time to figure it out.
Yeah.
This is an important building when you look at the town common, the town center area.
Right.
It's an important building, and it's important to to have that dialogue, to have those discussions with the various groups, because you go into town meeting for requests. People want to know what's going to happen.
Right. What cracks me up, I don't think I ever went to town meetings until I came to Upton. And for some reason or other, it just grabbed my attention because I don't know why. Out of all the towns I've lived in, I just felt, I need to know what's going on. I think you weren't sitting up at the table on the stage yet at the town meeting in May. You weren't up there, or you were watching from below?
I was up front, mainly because they needed seats for people.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I was just in front of the stage, but lower level, so sort of.
What's Dave Loper, our Mr. Manager, we call him. Mr. Moderator. He does an awesome job.
Yes.
It's almost like he was born to do that. And years ago, when I started coming to the meetings, I would hear, "Favorable action, Mr. Moderator," or what's it called? What's the financial committee? What do they call it?
Finance committee.
Yeah, but he would make it into just FinCom, and I'd say, "What's that? What's a FinCom?" And then somebody said, "It's the financial committee." But it's great. It's one of those town meetings you could almost make a movie out of, because people are so interested, and then they come down the aisles and they get to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like that. Did they have that at Littleton?
Yes, but every town is different. You have different characters.
That's okay
to sort
to
of take the sort of movie analogy. You have different characters. You have sometimes different scripts because how they do things.
Yeah.
They just have local traditions that make things a little different, and so that's the nice things. I've worked in for towns that have all had town meeting, whether it's open, such as Upton, or representative, but
they're different.
They are different.
They are different. It's like a different venue when you go to each town meeting, that type of thing. Yeah, I'm thinking of the Historical Society next door. They're going to need space. Wherever they are, they're going to need it. And they can't just put them in a box.
Right.
They've got a lot of historical things in there. And of course, our library is going to be moving over to the new rec center. That's going to be interesting. I wonder how long it's going to. Well, we were just talking about it. Maybe a month or so to get things over there. I think Matt. You've met Matt.
Yes.
He's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, and that's going to be one heck of a job. Have you seen the door that they put on downstairs in the library?
Yes, I have.
But it's the door to nowhere. There's no ramp.
There'll be a ramp coming soon.
Okay, because it's like, I wonder why not. We're talking with Joseph Laydon, and he's our new town manager here in Upton, Mass. Joe, again, how can they reach you?
By email at jlayden@uptonma.gov. Phone as well. You can get the number for the office on our town website, www.uptonma.gov. Those end up being the best ways to get in touch.
You haven't been here that long, but so far, do you have something that your favorite type of thing that you really, really thought this is cool here in this town?
One of the things was actually walking in the Memorial Day parade. It was sort of like starting off, visiting all the cemeteries. That was I hadn't done that in previous towns, and it was nice to visit all the cemeteries, and especially there's the old cemetery. I'm just blanking on the name.
There's Lakeview.
There's Lakeview, and then was
Maplewood.
Was it Maple? No, there was one from that basically predates the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, right off of Westboro Road, I think. Is it that one?
No, off of Grove, right at the intersection of Grove, but. The Cemetery Commission and members have been doing a really amazing job removing some of the vegetation and working to try to restore some of the grave sites. And they had someone from the Historical Commission speaking about the history of some of the Upton families and the roles that they played within the Revolutionary War. And it was just amazing to hear some of that, and really how local the Revolutionary War was for for residents within.
Have you met
Upton.
Tom Bayer? He works over at the Historical Society.
haven't.
I'm trying to remember the other members. Who else have you met from the Historical Society? You remember their names?
I don't remember their names. That's one of the things is that a lot of people have been poking in their head, or I've been meeting at different things, and unfortunately, with so many people, it takes a couple times to.
That's okay. That's okay. I know.
I recognize their face that I've seen them, but
I might remember somebody's birthday before I'll remember their name.
Yeah.
That's so strange. We've got just a couple minutes left. Would you like to share anything in particular with our audience, our viewers, before we leave?
I think one of the main things is that, I really find myself as being fortunate to have been selected for this position. Really find it, the people that work in town hall and for the town, they really are amazing people. So just very dedicated, and had a lot of support just in my short time here. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. We have actually a lot of positions to fill with retirements, and people leaving. But that's something that all towns are dealing with, and that's even, quite frankly, the local coffee shops are dealing with need for help. So, it's getting to know the town, know the issues, knowing some of the projects. That's been something that's been one of the priorities that I've had. Just trying to learn as much as possible so that can really start moving things forward.
There's a lot of history in this town. I mean, I didn't live here all my life, but when I came here, I was like, this is really very interesting. I mean, I hadn't experienced it before. The feeling of wanting to be a part of it, I was just moving from one, to the other, but I like it. I really, really do. So welcome again. And you can come in and you can talk to Joseph, give him a call, send him an email. Is the Facebook completely together now?
Yes.
Okay.
However, it's really a platform for relaying information as opposed to back and forth dialogue. So I'd really encourage anyone to either call or email, if they have any questions or any comments.
So you're open to communication. That's
Yes.
terrific. That's what is needed. Thank you, Joe, so much for being with us.
Thank
we'll
you.
see you next time. I'll be my guest.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems.